Hi, I'm Sundae with Natural Sundae, and I'm going to show you a way to massage away a stiff neck. I'm going to give you two of my special moves. Now, the first thing I like to do is I like to place a hot pack on the neck of the client because it's a really nice way to relax the tissue, and honestly, it makes my job easier. So the hot pack's been on a couple minutes. I'm going to remove it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with some nice relaxing moves, pushing the shoulders down and relaxing them. You're going to just push them down. You can do this together or in alternate movements, going over the shoulders and back up to the neck. One more time, down the shoulders and up the neck. Now, one of the moves I have, it's kind of funny. I call it the lawnmower because it emulates the what you do when you pull a lawnmower string. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take this part of your forearm on this part of the client right here. Let me get some oil, a little bit on my forearm, and you're going to just gently press and use your body weight all the way down. Now, I know this looks like your shoulder, but underneath there is the main culprit when you have a stiff neck. It's your neck muscle, and it's called your levator scapula, and it's used to elevate your scapula, and you actually use this muscle for almost everything. And it's the muscle that gets sore when you can't turn your neck to the side. So you're going to do your lawnmower, and what you're going to do is you're going to rotate your palm down. You're going to use this part right on the thick, meaty part of their shoulder, and you're going to go all the way down. You're going to do this a couple times, rotating that palm down like you're pulling a lawnmower string. One more time. Go up the neck right there, and then we're going to repeat this on the other side using this part of your forearm on the meaty part of their shoulder. Rotating the palm down. There we go. Relaxing the shoulders down and going up the neck. Then my second move, well, I actually really don't have a name for it, but I use my fists and I put them right here, right in the neck, right in the crevice, and I rotate my fist up the neck and over the shoulders. This is really good for relaxing all the muscles in the neck. You're kneading and loosening those muscles as well as the shoulder muscles. You're coming down over the shoulders, up the neck, and rotating those fists. Now what you want to do is make sure your client is nice and relaxed. Actually, the first thing I want to do is just take my client's arms and pull them down very, very gently. This is just a nice way to create space in between the ear and the shoulder. So I'm just going to go on this side, pull that arm down. Now actually, this doesn't have anything to do with the headache, but I always like to start massaging the ears because it actually helps them relax for the massage. So I'm just going to do some nice circular motions you see with my fingers and my thumbs, just around the ear tissue. Pull up, pull out, and then it feels really good when you pull down on the lobes. Now the first thing I want to do is I actually want to start with the shoulders and the neck because that's where a lot of tension can start anyway and travel up your head and your neck and cause the headache. So I'm just going to push those shoulders down very gently and relax them first. You can knead them. Knead those shoulder muscles. Bring my hands under the neck to lengthen that neck. You can cup the neck in your hands like this and bring your hands forward to really create length in the upper neck. Then what you want to do is you want to start at the temples. And you want to gently massage the temples, being careful because it can be very tender and sore if someone has a headache. So gently with the temples. There you go. Another special technique that I created, actually, is I like to take my two fingers and be very gentle. I like to place them under the bridge of right by the bridge of the nose, right by the brow bone. I like to come over the brow bone and over to the temples. I'm going to repeat this several times, being very gentle because I'm massaging around the eye area, which is very thin and delicate. One more time. You want to place the fingers right in the indention at the top of the nose, under the brow bone, go up over the bone, and across to the temples. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumbs and work on the forehead. I'm going to take them at the middle of the forehead, press down very gently to the sides of the head. I'm going to work up from the eyebrows to the hairline. You can do this 3 or 4 times up the length of the forehead. One more pass. Then what you can do is go in the opposite direction with your thumbs on the forehead. From the brows to the hairline, all the way up. There we go. And I really like to end doing a nice head massage because this is a great way to release the tension that's built up in the head, shoulders, and the neck. So you're just going to massage the head and the scalp. And then end with the ears just like I started. Now what I want to do, of course, you want to just put a little bit of oil, cream, or lotion on your hands. You just want to start by loosening up that tissues in the shoulders and in the neck. Just start stretching those shoulders down, going over the shoulders and up the neck. One more time. This is a really relaxing technique. Feels really good, and it's a great way to get that tissue soft so you can really get in there and affect some change. Now, the first thing I like to do is I like to do a special technique. I call it the lawnmower. I know it sounds silly, but it's actually the movements are emulating pulling a lawnmower string. What you're doing is you're rotating your forearm down with your palm down to the floor and up. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this part of your forearm on this part of the client. It not only affects the shoulder areas, but also there's a neck muscle under that shoulder area called the levator scapula. And it's the muscle that gets tight and hurts you when you can't turn your head to the left or right. So this is really great at affecting both of those muscles. So you're going to take your forearm and gently rotate the palm down while you're pressing down on the shoulders and on that neck muscle that's underneath there. So you're going to rotate that palm down. You can even go all the way down with your forearm, past the past the elbow, and all the way down with your upper arm. It really gives you a nice uninterrupted movement. Then you can just follow with your hands all the way up the neck and do it one more time. All the way down past the elbow to the upper arm. There we go. Of course, we're going to repeat this on the other side. Then what the second technique I'm going to show you is using your fists. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your fists right here. You're just going to rotate your fists up and across the shoulders. Right up the neck and across the shoulders, just like that. One more time, up the neck, just like that, and across the shoulders. This feels really good, and it's a way to get in really deep and really loosen those muscles up. Now the next thing you're going to do is just use some circular motions. You're going to take your fingers up the neck muscles and just rotate them across the neck muscles. Now your neck muscles are running vertically, up through here and up in this direction, and some run across the front. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers and rotate them just like this, so you're getting across those muscle fibers that are running along there. Just go like that. You can actually feel them. They're very hard and tight. Just get in there. You can do little circular motions and follow them down across the top of the shoulders, and then rake your fingers back up. Just take your fingers again, and circular motions. You can do larger circles or smaller circles. And there we go. Those are great tips to relaxing stiff necks and hardened shoulders. Now the first thing you want to remember is to really set a nice relaxing atmosphere, and you can do this a couple ways. You can light some candles and dim the lights. You can also play some really soft music and have the client just relax and try to loosen up every part of their body and take some deep breaths. That will really set the tone for a nice massage. Now the second thing you want to do, you have your client on the table, and you just want to prepare them for the massage. Help them relax, because a lot of people these days are really stressed out and they need help. You don't want them tense on the table like that. So just kind of start by rocking the client with your hands on the lower back. Just real gently get them to relax. There you go. Then we're going to uncover the back. Just like that. And when you give a massage, you want to start with the back. This is the most relaxing part of the body, and it's the biggest surface area. So you're really going to be able to work a lot of that body by taking care of that back first, and it's really relaxing. It sets the tone for the rest of the massage. Now, what you're going to do when you start a massage is you're going to work superficial to deep, which means you're going to start gently, and then as your client loosens up and the muscles allow you to get in there and work, then you can start working deeper. So you want to work superficial to deep, which means gently, and then later you could add more pressure when they're ready for it. And you want to start using gentle, gliding, uninterrupted, relaxing strokes all the way down the back. And of course, once the back is relaxed, then you can move on to the arms, the hands, of course, the legs and the feet. But one really important thing to remember when you're giving your massage, no matter where you are on the part of the body, you want to always make sure you've got one hand on the client. You have to remember the client is face down, and they can't see where you are. And if you take your hands off completely and you're walking around, it kind of makes people feel nervous. They always want to know where you are. So if I'm done with the back and I need to walk over here, I'll always keep one hand on them, replace it with this hand, and then walk around the table. Next thing you want to remember is to ask them to breathe deeply. Sometimes when you're working and things get, if you're going a little bit too deep for the client, they may start to tense up. Well, that's really going to mess up the massage. They're not going to really they're not going to accept your touch. So just keep them relaxed with nice, gentle movements, and then you're going to want to turn them over, and of course, do all those movements on the front of the body. Now, using your forearm is very tricky because you have to practice a lot. It's really tricky. You can't really feel with your forearm like you can the fingertips. There's more touch sensors in your fingers than on your forearm, so it takes a little bit of practice, but it's well worth it because it feels great, and it's a great way to really manipulate that tissue. So the first way I like to use my forearms in a massage, of course I'm going to put a little bit of oil on my forearms. So I'm just going to come up through the neck and just gently go down. You're just going to glide your forearms across the tissue. Up like this, down the back. And this is called the erector spinae muscle. It's the long muscle that goes up and down the back. So this is the first technique. Using your forearms. Let me do it one more time. Up the back, from the neck, all the way down, spreading it laterally, and coming up. The next technique you can do using your forearms is doing some scooping, just like you're scooping something out. What you're going to do is you're going to rotate your forearm with your hand moving like that, and you're going to scoop the tissue. You're going to go from top to bottom, moving your forearm in a circular direction, scooping that tissue. That really helps increase circulation. As you can see, the skin's becoming pink. Just scoop it out. Now you can use it in a circular motion, and this is called circular friction. Now this is great to use on the back because the back muscles run vertically from top to bottom. And if you're using your forearm, you can generally use a lot more pressure than you can with your hands because a lot of times therapists' hands get really tired. So you're going to use your forearm in a circular friction motion, and this is spreading those tissues that run vertically, spreading them open. Just like that. You can go up the back and down the back. What you first want to do is make sure your client is relaxed, and you can do this in any very basic way, massaging the back, getting the client ready for where the soreness is occurring. You just want to either use very basic strokes to relax the client. You can rock them. Now, when you're ready to come to the arm, you want to come over here, and you want to make sure they have a lot of space between their ear and the shoulder, and you can do this by gently pulling the arm down in a very gentle fashion. You can take your palms on either side of the arm muscles. You've got your deltoids here and your tricep, and just trace downward in a very relaxing fashion. You can actually use your palms and your forearms. You can go in an upward motion towards the heart, using your palms from underneath that deltoid muscle and down. You can go up from underneath, using your palm and your forearm, and going down on top. Another thing that you can do is kneading, and you can do this by just lifting the tissue off of the body, lifting it up and creating lots of room for fresh, clean, oxygenated blood to feed that sore tissue and help it to heal. And this is a wonderful way to massage away some sore arms. And of course, you want to come down here over the elbow. You don't want to forget their forearm muscles. You can gently glide it right over your forearms. You can also use your forearms on their forearms, all the way down the arm, just like that. And of course, you want to remember to do this on the other side so your client is nice and balanced. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to relax that leg. So you're going to want to come down here to the leg, just wiggle it a little bit, shake it up, rock it back and forth. You want to make sure that client's freely moving, and that really shows you that he's relaxed. He's not holding really stiff. Then what you're going to do, of course, is you're going to apply your oil, cream, or lotion, whichever you prefer. Then you're just going to start right at the knee and gently glide up in an effleurage motion, which means you're gliding up the leg. And it's really important to start from the knee, but you don't want to press on this area here. You want to start right above that area, just raking your hands and gliding your hands all the way up. And it's really important that you go all the way up to their glutes because that's where the attachment point is. And that's where the soreness happens and it vibrates down the leg. If it's sore up here, it's going to be sore down here. So you want to just go all the way up the leg. Use your thumbs to just trace that attachment point all the way up. And you can do this movement on all the different areas of the hamstring, whether it's the outer portion right here, all the way up, the middle portion, or the inside portion. You've got to be a little bit careful because the insides of the legs are definitely more tender. Especially if you're a guy, you have hair on your legs, you want to make sure you have enough oil and be careful that you don't pull that hair. All right, after your effleurage, you want to do some kneading. And kneading is just lifting up of the tissue just like this. You're lifting up that tissue, you're separating it from the rest of the leg, and you're really going to increase blood flow, which is going to bring fresh oxygen and nutrients to the tissue. And that really helps soreness. So you just rake that leg, knead that tissue, lift it up and separate it. And then end with a nice, relaxing effleurage. It also helps to remember to do the rest of the leg. Don't forget the calf. So you want to do the calf in the same motions. You want to effleurage, rake that tissue, and you can actually squeeze it too. You can do some squeezing like this. Now the first thing you want to do is start running your fingers through your hair. This is not only very relaxing, but it really helps stimulate circulation. And not only are you just running your fingers through your hair, but you're going to apply very gentle downward pressure so that you can really feel the indentions in your scalp. And then you can repeat with circular motions. And good, nice circular motions with your fingers would look just like this. Now you're going to repeat it from the back. You're going to go from the back of your skull all the way forward, applying gentle pressure downward so you can really feel that skull. And you can repeat it with circular motions. I'm sure my hair looks fantastic right now. And now what you're going to do, since you want to get your skull from every angle, you want to start from the sides. So you're going to go up from the temples and your ears all the way up to the top of your head. And this feels really good. You're going to go to the front of your head where your forehead is, and then the back of your head where the base of your skull is. One more time. And of course, repeat it with gentle circular motions all over your head. Then a nice thing to do is take your fingers in a fixed position and place them on your head, and you're only going to move your arms. And this way, it sort of looks like you're moving a wig over your head, but you're releasing your scalp from your skull. And this is a great way to reduce and release any trapped or adhered skin on your skull. Then the last thing you're going to do that feels really, really good is you're going to take, if you have hair that's long enough, you're going to take your hair up in a ponytail, and you can do two things. You can either squeeze your fist like this, which feels great, or you can pull your hand, and both of them feel equally as nice. It's a great way to increase circulation, and it's very relaxing. And then the last thing you can do, and I always start and end my massages this way, is I do some ear pulls and ear rubbing. And you're just going to use some circular motions with your fingers like this, all around your ears, and then pull those earlobes down, and that feels the best. Now what you want to do, what I like to do first, is I like to really relax my client. And the good way to do this is just gently take the arms and gently stretch them down. And this is going to stretch your shoulders away from your ears. And the more space you have between your shoulders and your ears is going to increase your relaxation. And that's what you're trying to do also. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hands and you're going to run them through the hair. But you're not just running fingers through the hair. What you're going to do is you're going to apply a gentle downward pressure so that you can really feel the indentions in the skull. And this is really going to help you to increase circulation, increase relaxation, and to get all the tension out. Then what you can do is do the same thing but using circular motions from the base of the skull all the way up to the hairline. And then I'm going to come around to the head of the client and do the same thing. I'm going to gently run my fingers through his hair, being careful to put downward pressure so I can feel all the indention in his skull. One more time with circular motion as well. There we go. Then, since you'd like to come at the scalp from all angles, I'd like to go from the ears all the way up to the top of the head. And you can do this from the ears from the back and also from the front. You want to get down on your knees to get a really good position. Go from the ears into the center. Another thing that feels really good, and usually it's easier with people who have longer hair. he has really short hair, but I'm going to do it anyway. You take your hair and you just gather up all the hair, and you're going to squeeze it. And you're going to put your fist and squeeze it like this. And this really is a good way to get all the hair and stimulate every hair follicle. It's really good for the scalp. Then you can also do some pulling as well. And the last, I like to end with pulling the ears. Now, this really doesn't circulate any circulation in your scalp, but it really feels good. And I really like to start my massages this way and end them this way as well. Just circular motions on the ears and then pulling the lobes down. Here I'm going to go ahead and sit at the client's head. And it's really important to remember that you start at the area of the head that's closest to the heart. So you can circulate this congestion out of this area, and so that the other congestion in the higher parts of the head has somewhere to circulate out as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to gently cup the client's face with your hands, and you're going to start spreading the skin over the chin. And this is going to release the congestion in this area. Repeat this a couple times. Then you're going to go ahead and move on to the upper lip and gently spread the skin over the upper lip. But remember, when you work with facial skin, it's very delicate, so you want to work very gently and in an upward motion. We'll repeat one more time. Then what you want to do is you're going to start flushing the cheeks, and you're going to go from the inside of the nose out. And you can repeat this as many times as needed. Let's repeat this one more time. You can also do something called a cheekbone flush, which is going from the edges of the nose under the cheekbone and all the way up to the temples. And this feels really good as well. Do one more. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers on each side of the nose and you're going to gently press, helping to relieve the congestion in this part of the nose. And be careful if you're in the eye area. You want to make sure you're very, very gentle, because the eye area, the skin is very thin and you don't want to stretch it or damage it. Then you want to go ahead and repeat your cheekbone flush to loosen up all the congestion once again. Then something that I find personally helpful when I have a sinus headache is taking my two fingers, putting them under the bridge of the nose, gently pressing over the brow and going to the temples on each side of the face. So gently pressing up over the bone and going to each temple. Then you're going to go ahead and gently work the temples, being very careful. Sometimes when you have sinus congestion, it can be very tender. So you want to work the temples very, very gently and slowly. Working on the forehead is always good to do next. So you're going to take your thumbs and gently spread the skin on the forehead from the middle out. And you're going to go from the brow line all the way to the hairline. And you can repeat this as many times as necessary. There we go. And the last thing I like to do is just give a gentle scalp massage. This helps really release and loosen all the congestion in the head and in the scalp. And it feels really good too. Now, the first technique that's commonly started during a chair massage is compression. And this is just a pressing down and a compression of the tissue. You can do this all the way down the back. It's very relaxing, feels really good, and it helps stimulate circulation. It's also just the best way to start the massage because it feels good. So compression. And what compression does is the act of the compression itself doesn't increase circulation, but when you release that compression, that's where the magic happens, because then a fresh surge of blood, when the pressure's taken off, can rush right through that tissue and really bring fresh oxygen and nutrients to all that tissue. So it's a really nice technique. And the second technique is basically just a variation of the first technique. It's called squeezing. And you're just squeezing off that circulation, and then when you let go, the blood can rush through that tissue. So we got compression all the way down the back, and then squeezing, of course, anywhere along the neck, upper neck, all the way down, throughout the shoulders, letting that blood rush through there. Now, the third technique is called kneading, and that means to knead and lift the tissue. And this is commonly used with both hands coming in towards each other and rotating a little bit so that you can really lift up that tissue. Just like that. See that tissue in the middle of those hands right there? Right here. You can do this all down the back. And depending on the tightness of the person's clothes, too, it's a little bit easier than other times. Right now I'm having a little bit of a hard time, but you get the general idea. You're lifting up that tissue. The fourth technique is called friction, and this is just a compression with a circular motion. You're creating friction inside that tissue, so you're compressing with a circular motion. Compressing, creating friction inside that tissue. Really increasing circulation and loosening up that tissue. There you go. And the last technique is called tapotement or percussion. And this is using percussive motions with alternate hands. And you can do this with hacking like this. And you're going to really loosen up your wrists. And if you have rings on, actually, watch out. You might want to take them off because it really does tend to hurt if you've got rings on. So you can do hacking. You can do cupping all the way down or fist beating, making sure to keep clear of that spine. Now, the first technique that's generally taught and learned in a massage school is effleurage, and it's a gliding stroke. This is a French term that means to glide. And it's usually the first one performed because it helps the client to relax before you get any deeper into the tissue. So here's the first technique. It's effleurage, just a gliding stroke on either side of the spine. It feels really, really good, and it's a really nice way to relax. The second technique is called pétrissage. And of course, it's also a French term, and it means to knead or lift. And you're going to use your hands in a motion like this to where you can really get the tissue up and between your hands. You're definitely increasing circulation, making that tissue nice and soft and pliable, just like a big ball of dough. Now, the third technique is called friction. Now, this is actually compression with circular movements. Friction is just moving across the muscle fibers. The muscles in your back run up and down. So the great way to affect them and to spread the tissue is to use friction. Circular friction, you can use your palm, you can use your forearm, but it's a really nice way to affect the muscle. You're just going to use some circular friction across the fiber of that muscle right here. The next term is called vibration. And it's actually self-explanatory. Your hands are going to vibrate and really wake up the nerves and tissue under that hand and under that skin right here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to compress and then use some trembling actions. This is really saying, wake up, wake up. You got to get some blood flow to that area. You're just going to vibrate just like that. Now, the last basic technique of Swedish massage is called tapotement or percussion. And it's kind of self-explanatory. It's a percussive motion. You're going to use alternate hands, and you're just going to hack like this. There's three kinds of you can do. You can hack, and you want to make sure your wrists are really relaxed and your fingers are really relaxed. You can hack like that, or you can put your hands in little cups, and cup like that, or you can fist beat them. And actually, after you have used tapotement for a couple minutes, you can really see the red start to surface on their back, and that means that you've definitely increased the tissue surface circulation in that tissue. Now, one of the other things you want to remember is to go only as deep as the client is ready for you to go. You want to really relax that tissue first. You don't want to go too deep because if you're going to stress the client out, they're going to lock up and you're not going to be able to get in there. So you really want to create a really nice relaxing environment. You want to create strokes that feel good to the client. And you want to make them be able to relax. You're going to increase circulation, increase range of motion, and increase flexibility. The second technique you use is called pétrissage, and this is the French term for kneading. You're going to take your two hands, and you're going to knead that tissue right in between. You're going to lift that tissue up, create lots of space for blood to flow. Increased circulation brings clean oxygen and nutrients to each part of your muscle tissue, keeping it happy and healthy all the time. Now, the third technique used is called friction, and this is just circular compression, just like this, compressing the muscle in a circular motion. And that's the great way to increase circulation, increase muscle tone, and a great way to decrease muscle pain. The fourth technique is called vibration, and this is actually just taking your hand and vibrating it along the tissue. You're really waking up that muscle and that nerve tissue underneath, increasing circulation, and creating a nice environment for that client. And the last technique you're going to use is you're going to use tapotement. And this is an alternate method where you can use your hands in different types of movements. You can use tapotement this way with your fists, with your hands in alternate movements. Increasing circulation, you're going to see that his skin is going to start to get red. That's the increased circulation. That's the blood flowing to the surface of the skin. And also, you can do this in many different ways. You can do this fist beating, or you can cup it as well. These are great ways to increase circulation in your client.